My mother called to me in the night. The voice came like a warm hand across the hallway, familiar and low. And because we were always half awake in new houses, I obeyed. We were in Alberta then, one of the many places the program had dropped us. Different paint, different pipes, different late-night creaks. I was 9, used to mapping a house by the way it breathed. Radiator sighs, settling joists, the refrigerator's distant hum. New houses took time. It was a game. It kept the dark manageable. That night, the kitchen was the only island of light. I remember the way it looked from the end of the hall, the square of illumination, the thin shadow at the doorway. The air smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and winter wool. It was about 1 in the morning. The house had learned its own night noises and settled into them. I stood up on soft feet and walked toward the glow, thinking it was my mother calling me for a glass of water or to close a window she'd forgotten. Halfway down the corridor, my mother's voice came again, farther now, calling my name from the kitchen. It was bright with ordinary concern, ordinary sleep-worn tenderness. My chest unclenched. I took 3 more steps. Then another voice answered, my mother's voice, but not from the kitchen.
It threaded through the dark from the direction of her bedroom behind me. She said, without alarm, "Go back to bed."
I heard it too. Everything in me turned cold. The hallway seemed to lengthen. The light shrank. For a second, I heard only the blood in my ears. The sensible explanation, someone playing a trick, died where the words met. My mother, awake and in her own room, could not have called me from the kitchen. She was beside my father. When I later watched them stand in the living room, fluorescent beams cutting across tired faces, they had both heard it. They had both risen. They had both listened. My mother woke my father. They searched every room, the basement, the crawl space beneath the eaves. They checked closets, the garden shed, and the crawl space under the back porch. They looked beneath beds. They opened cupboards and counted spoons by lamplight. No one was there. There was, however, the house, which kept answering back in its old ways, pipes, boards, the lonely skitter of mice, and a single impossible memory. 2 identical voices in different places, insisting I return to bed. We never found an intruder. The police made notes and left. The program made a file and went about the slow business of relocation. Still, later that week, my mother and I sat with our knees touching on the bed and spoke in small, careful sentences. She told me she had heard the call, that she had heard me say my name. The way she said it, soft, certain, was the only barrier between me and a different possible ending. Sometimes I think that is what saved me, not the warm light or the house, but the sound of a woman who refused to let her child cross the threshold. Years later, I found a forum thread where someone wrote the same scene, same words, same cadence. People answered with stories that matched ours. A voice calling, another voice echoing it from an impossible place, mothers who had heard and mothers who hadn't. There was talk of mimicry, of sleep paralysis, of grief and stray radio waves. None of those things fit neatly into the hollow left between the kitchen light and my bedroom. Now I have my own house, and sometimes, in the deep hour before dawn, I wake to a voice calling a name I half remember and half invent. I hold my breath. The child inside me still steps toward the light. Then, from somewhere behind me, as if the house itself remembers how to keep its children, a voice, familiar, weary, and certain, says softly, "Go back to bed. I heard it too." The house now echoes. The floorboards creak underfoot, each noise a reminder. I pull the covers tighter, a meager shield against the encroaching cold. Sleep offers no escape, only nightmares mirroring the waking terror. Shadows dance in the periphery, always just out of sight. I sometimes wonder if the house is alive, a sentient entity feeding on fear. Or if it's just me, a broken record playing the same traumatic tune. The silence is the worst. It amplifies every creak, every rustle, turning ordinary sounds into harbingers of dread. I tried talking to my parents about it, but they don't remember the details. The program erases memories, a cruel side effect of forced relocation. So I'm left alone with the echoes, the voices that call out in the night, the feeling of being watched, the certainty that something malevolent resides within these walls. I considered moving, but the voices always follow. They are a part of me now, an unwelcome inheritance from a past I can't escape. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of my younger self in the mirror, a frightened child staring back with wide, haunted eyes. I tried medication, therapy, anything to silence the voices, but nothing works. The echoes persist, a constant reminder of the night my mother called me. The house is a prison, and I'm its only inmate. I pace the halls, waiting for the inevitable call. I fear sleep most of all, for it is then that the voices are strongest, the shadows most real. I try to rationalize it, to find a logical explanation, but there is none. It is a mystery that will forever haunt me. And so, I live with the echoes, the voices, the fear. It is my reality now, a life sentence in a haunted house of my own making. The cycle continues night after night. The call, the response, the terror. It never ends. I am trapped in a loop, forever reliving that night in Alberta. The house remembers, and so do I. Perhaps one day I will find peace. Perhaps one day the voices will fade, but until then, I remain in the shadows, listening for the echoes in the hall. The old house stands, a silent sentinel, guarding its secrets and whispering its tales to the wind. It is a place of echoes, of memories, of unending night. And I, its reluctant heir, continue to listen for the call. Go back to bed. I heard it too.